Good morning. So many of you have been letting me know through direct message and email about how you are aware of your pelvis and your hips so much more. And you're starting to realize that you can't just blast through exercises to get something done. Like there is no template for getting out of pain, out of sciatica, back pain, that you really, truly have to become aware. And once you're aware, you can change so much. And I am delighted that these Facebook Lives, these IGTVs, these YouTube videos are helping you really become aware of that, because that is so huge in terms of helping you not only get out of pain, but really gain the mobility and the strength and the stability that you want. So in that spirit, you can see I've got Stan behind me. We might bring Stan into the picture on this particular video, but I want to dig more into hips, and I want you to get a better feel of how those legs and pelvis work together, how your pelvis and your rib cage, your torso work together, and of course, how the shoulders blend into that. So we're going to need a ball and a chair and a strap. We're going to be mostly in standing today. All right, let's get rolling. So to begin with, we're going to take the ball and we're going to bring it onto the floor, but I want you to come into standing here and just to feel what's going on today. It is Monday morning from what I understand, although it seems like all the days are kind of blending into one. And I just want you to feel yourself standing. And what I want you to try not to do is to lift up. Try not to lift and get long. I just want you to be where you are now. For me, it's about 4:45 in the morning. For you, it might be a bit later, it might be even earlier. But I just want you to notice what is real now in your body without trying to change it. So you might want something different, but I don't want you to make something different, because you're just manufacturing it, which is not going to really help in my mind. And then I want you to become aware of your breathing and 3 points on the bottom of your feet: the center of the heel, the ball of the foot, and the base of the pinky toe. So you feel those 3 points. Okay. Now with that as your initial baseline, I want you to come into using the ball. So I'll come up a little bit more here. So with the ball, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll out the bottom. You may have other ways that you want to work with this, but I'm just going to roll out the foot. Okay, and then put that off to the side. Whoops. And just stand. And then other side here. Just going to roll out the foot. Good. Okay, and then the ball can go off to the side. And now I want you just to come back into standing. And now be aware of what you feel. Right? Because when you look at the foot, right? The foot, this is the bottom of a whole kinetic chain. So while it is what touches the earth, it also has such an impact on what happens up here, and what happens up here has such an impact of what happens down there. So there's a real relationship that we want to build. All right, so now from here, let's take the legs wide. Stan's going to go back a bit. All right, so we're going to rotate the legs. Now remember, the idea here is we're going to rotate these legs, and even though my feet are moving, I'm not moving the feet. The foot is moving because of what's going on at the hip. So be really, really aware of what's actually going on. Are you able to rotate those leg bones or not? Yeah? And then if you aren't, then just bring your legs back a little bit and find the motion there. This is so, so, so important, because so many people, when they take their legs they move their pelvis like this, because They can't do both, take the legs wide and rotate, right? Because there's too much limitation. That doesn't mean you won't ever be able to do it, right? That's what's really key. Tissue is changeable, right? So it's just a matter of giving your body the stimulus that it needs. Okay, we're just going to do a little bit of coming down and up. And I really, really want to emphasize that. Like, your tissue can change. The reason why it's not is because you haven't been necessarily aware of what needs to change, or you are aware and you're not doing it. I've never found myself in that position before, by the way, ever. Right? Once you're aware of something, the problem is the genie is out of the bottle, right? Okay, we're going to take the hands. We're going to bring them onto the back of the legs. Gently press the legs back as you come down. Now you keep doing that. I'm just going to put Stan off a little bit more into the corner. Not that he's been really bad or anything, but just out of the way a bit. Okay. So lowering down. Okay. Hands are on the outside. All right. So now I just want you to touch base with your feet now. Because sometimes when we're limited and we don't even realize we're limited because we're thinking, wow, look, I've got the range of motion, but our feet are like doing tightness. They're getting really, really, really tight and they're getting grippy. So notice if as you're coming down, your feet start to kind of do this. So if they're doing that, you're going too far. Yeah. Yes, sure, you have the range of motion, but at what cost? Yeah. At what cost? So we want to keep, since the feet are the punctuation of our posture, they're what are touching the earth, right? Just allow for the hips, which are the primary articulating joint, same with the knees, but we're wanting both of these happening. Good? Okay, so you're getting a feel of that. All right, now let's bring the legs back together. So you've got this idea of how this leg bone moves in the pelvis. Pelvis is level. My shirt, I've worn it on purpose for this because of the lines. And I want you just to allow that motion, and you can start to take that foot up, right? The articulating joint is the hip and the knee, and the foot is now placed here. Yeah. Okay, and then bring your hands together. Now, if you want to go further, then be conscientious of what your bottom foot is doing. And if as you lift this leg, that bottom foot starts to grip, right? See, the thing is if you've been practicing with me for a little bit, what's going to happen, and you've noticed this already, is that I just keep increasing the complexity of your level of awareness. Because to me, awareness is really king or queen, whichever one. The thing is that awareness is the thing. Without the awareness, you can't change anything, right? So I'm telling all my clients that it really is your secret piece of leadership. Yeah, when you're aware, then you can change all sorts of stuff. But if you're not aware, then you end up changing or trying to fix the problem that doesn't exist. It's the one you think exists, but it actually is not the one that does exist. You're just handling symptoms, which is fine. Initial stages, symptom management is totally a-okay. But if you want those symptoms to shift, you actually need to come at the conversation and the question from a different perspective. Well, I went a little too high. I kind of jigged my hip there, so I'm going to stay here this morning. Good. So again, the idea here is it's not that your pelvis goes out here and you go, oh, okay, oops, I better pull that in. If you've gone out here, you've just either not been aware of something or you lost the coordination and control, kind of like what happened to me as I came here. I did something like this. So I'm just going to come to here this morning. Woo! It's a little windy down in this basement. Okay, so again, see if you can just kind of connect into your feet. So it's not that you're trying to get to some end destination. Like we all know that the end destination, it's fun and all, but it's not where all the magic is. The magic, I'm going to sound really smart here. The magic is in the process, right? We've never heard that before. Okay, good. And easy breathing and come on back down. All right, now come here. Now check in. What are you now aware of? What's new? What's going on in your feet, in your shins, in your knees, in your hips, in your back? What are you now aware of? Yeah? All right, let's take a side bend now. So feet, 3 points of the feet, then take a side bend here. Good. And then back up. And then take a side bend. And so again, watch your desire, if you have this one, of just going as far as you can. And it may even be that it's not that you're going as far as you can. Let's go one more time the other side. It's that you're not noticing these little whispers, yeah? The whispers are really the gold in all of this. The more you can be aware of where you're compensating, where you're bracing, feel the jaw, your eyes, all of that. The more you can be aware of it, that's what you can change. And people will say to me, but Susie, it's so quiet. What's the big deal? I'm like, that's the whole big deal about it. Okay, take the strap, bring it behind your body. Okay, you're just going to rest your hands back here. Articulating joint is the shoulder. Here. If you blow by compensation patterns, if you blow by the whispers, then you're asking another part of your body to do something that's not designed to do. Which one off, I mean, our systems are designed to enable that to happen. So 1 off, 2 off, 3 off, that's all right. But here's the thing, this is like the crazy thing. Everybody who has pain compensates. And when I can help them reduce their compensation, their pain starts to go away. Happens all the time. Good, and then we're going to take this and we're going to loop it up. Now someone will criticize me and say, but Susie, we all compensate and a lot of us aren't in pain. It's like, exactly. That's exactly right. You're well compensated. We all compensate. But here's the thing, when you have pain and you reduce that compensation, your pain goes away. Happens all the time. The thing is, you've got to be willing to become aware. You've got to be willing to become aware. So what I've done here is I've taken the strap above my elbows here. So you've got to decide if this is too much, right? If it's too much, then I want you to come here. Right? By too much, I mean your breath has gotten a little bit more limited. I mean that there's gripping or there's bracing, like you just added that component in. Right? Don't like notice in your head if you're saying, oh, this is not really a big deal. I just need to work through this. Just for fun. Don't do that. Just for fun, opt for ease. Okay? And now if you've got the ability, you're going to start, notice where my shoulders are. I was going to say feel where my shoulders are. That'll be interesting. Notice where my shoulders are. And now I'm taking my arms back into extension. The arms are coming back. I'm not gripping and holding my ribs into my abdomen. I'm just bringing my arms back. So I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not even lifting my breastbone to the sky. my rib cage is where it is. The articulating joint, arm bones in shoulder socket. You can let your fingers be a little more alive. You can keep them relaxed. It's totally up to you. It just depends. My measurement is there extraneous tension that does not need to be there? Because if you're building a movement pattern with extraneous tension, that you're telling your nervous system, you're telling your brain, you're telling your whole system that that is normal. And that is the way, that is the habit you want to build. So if how you're moving is what you want to build, then keep doing it. If what you're doing is not the habit you want to build, then you might want to change it. Good. Okay, and let that go. Okay, so now we're going to put the strap here for a second. Let's bring the legs back. We're going to rotate the leg bones in the hip sockets again, and then we're going to come back down. Good. All right, and then down. Feel those bottoms of the feet as you're moving through the hips and the knees. All of this is really, really easy and light. You're not having to lift your chest. You're not having to grip your abdomen. Your pelvic floor is likely just responding, if you can feel it, to the load change. Try not to engage it unless you've been told by someone that you should, because you need to increase that. But other than that, then just allow yourself to move through these big joints here. That's it. Okay, good. Perfect. Now we're going to play around with some warrior two. So we're going to rotate this leg. The pelvis is going to come around a bit. Okay, but the idea is that the pelvis is level. I'm going to take my legs wider simply because that's how I practice. I don't want you to follow me just because I'm doing that. I want you to pay attention to yourself. Noticing that this is an articulating joint, these are articulating joints, ankle's the articulating joint. Be aware of that. Yeah? What happens with this back leg is totally up to you. You can internally rotate it. You can leave it where it is. Okay, and then bring those arms up if you so desire. You certainly don't have to. Yeah? Nice. Okay, and then come up. Good. And let's rotate those leg bones. That pelvis will rotate around. Now again, remember, the thing that you want to pay really close attention to is see how I move my leg and I'm dropping my foot, and lots of people end up doing this. See how you can see it in the lines of my shirt? That starts to happen. And that's not what we want to have happen. We want to rotate the leg bone, drop the foot, keep the pelvis level. So if you can't do that, guess what? You need to come back to here. Okay, just lets you know that your range is a little bit too big. It doesn't mean anything about you as a person. It doesn't make you bad or wrong. And I realize that sounds, might sound silly, but the thing is we all have these funny things that go through our heads sometime. We can get attached to our movement or the way we move. Okay, now if you want, you can take your hand to the outside of the thigh and let that thigh press into the hand. Be aware that it's the leg bone moving in the pelvis. Good, and then just check in with your feet again. Like, are you a bird on a wire, like holding tight? Are you aware of the back side of your foot on the floor? Yeah? And you can come down. Remember, you can come down as far or as little as you want. Just the key piece here is this the articulating joint? Is it moving? And is it moving? Right? Are you well connected? Easy with your feet? Do you have ease in your body? I hear strength coaches sometimes giving me a hard time because they say to me, you know, Susie, there's a time for ease and there's a time for surge. And my response is, why not have ease inside of surge? Look at some of the best performing athletes. They are not full of tension. They have ease as they move. Yeah? Now there's some that are not. There are some that have a whole ton of pain. And by the way, I'd love to work with you if you've got a ton of pain and you're a high-performing athlete. Because holy shit, if I can help you move better, oh, what you'll be capable of is astonishing. Astonishing. All right, come on up. Okay, and then bring those legs back together. Now let's become aware. Notice and feel. Already, it's now 10 after 5 for me in the morning. I can feel a whole lot taller than when I woke up an hour ago. Lovely. All right, let's grab the chair. Bring the chair into the mix. Okay, we're going to bring one foot up onto the chair. Right, this one's probably a little bit high for me just because I've got a bit much of an angle, but it will do. We're going to take ourselves into a twist. So have your middle fingers under your chin and take that into a rotation. Good. Now when you rotate, the whole body isn't going with it. It's just your rib cage is moving and pelvis is easy. Yeah? Just like so. Good. And be aware of the feet again. Are you gripping onto your mat with your feet in order to keep yourself standing? It's amazing, isn't it? It really, really is amazing. The adaptability of the human being is so awesome. Because that's ultimately what compensation is, right? It means that you are super adaptable and super flexible. All right, let's take that twist. Trouble is it might not be serving you. So the aim is to refine your movement pattern so you can come in touch with the true adaptability that is inherently you. And that is when you'll blow your mind. There is no limit to the amount of ease that you can feel. Lovely. Okay. and then come on back. All right, now in standing. Now notice what is going on in your body. Yeah? All right, come into your chair now, or onto the floor, whichever you prefer. And let's have a little chat. No, I'm kidding. Let's just have a seat. All right, here. I want you to settle into your breathing. So you've connected to your pelvis, and you can connect to your ribs, and you can feel your breathing moving in the structure of that. Through this practice, you've likely increased some awareness of how your body actually functions. You've gained some clarity on what's working and maybe what's not working. And really celebrate both equally, the things that are moving well and the things that maybe aren't moving well. Both give us information about how we can reconnect to our systems and have a better internal feedback mechanism to let us know what we need to do. And ultimately giving us more and more and more support and an internal locus of control, which is vital for us to be able to mitigate during this time where the environment external to us is entirely uncertain. Us having an internal sense of control and certainty is what will get us through. So as you finish up this practice, you may want to get into your vinyasa practice. You might want to go for a run. Maybe it's the time of day like me and you're ready to go for some breakfast. But see if you can kind of keep connected without forcing. Keep connected to this feeling and this awareness, the things that are working and the things that aren't working. Be aware of it all. Allow it to inform you on your next steps. And as you continue about, just notice when it fades. Notice when it returns. Because as we all know, when you listen to the whispers, you don't have to hear the screams. So here's to honoring that quiet, still voice inside that's there and that's guiding us. Let's make today the day we listen. Let's make today the day that we act. Here's to being you. You have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.